In this lesson, we will be looking at remembering how to complete the square. So here we go. First of all, to remember that to complete the square, you want your constant on one side of the equation and your x squared and your x term on the other side of the equation. So what I'm going to do is I am going to add this 20 to the other side because I want my constant on one side of it. So I will have y plus 20 over here. And then, of course, I will have x squared plus 8x over here. And remember, the goal is to add something to this right side of the equation so that it becomes a perfect square, okay? And by what I mean by perfect square is it's a quantity times itself. So what you're going to do, I will remind you of this, is you're going to put, first of all, a blank on either side. So I'm going to put a blank on this side, and I am going to put a blank on this side, okay? Then if you remember, you take half of this middle number, and half of 8 is 4, and so I will go x plus 4 down here, okay? And then I take the 4 that's right here, and I square it. So 4 squared is 16. That's what goes in the blank here. And if I add 16 to the right side, I have to add 16 to the left side to keep that equation balanced, okay? That's squared over here. And then, of course, on the left, 20 plus 16 becomes 36, so I have y plus 36 equals that. And then, of course, you want this solved for y in the end, and so you will actually end up subtracting that 36 back over so that it looks like this. And that's just your basic average complete in the square. I want to show you this in here. Some people get confused sometimes about how I get from here to here. The reason, again, you took half of the middle number, which was 8, squared it to make 16, and that's what went in the blank. If you were to factor that quantity right here, it would factor as x times x, and then of course 16 is 4 times 4, and then a plus in the middle. And do you see how you have the same quantity in the parentheses both times? So I can rewrite that as x plus 4 squared. And I didn't really show you that step, but that's what completing the square does. Okay? So there's your answer to that one. And of course they get a little bit more complicated, but we'll get there. Okay? Here's another kind of pretty basic one. I'm going to add 12 to the other side first. So then I have y plus 12 equals x squared plus 4x. And then remember, you need to add your blanks on each side. Okay. So then on the right, the part that's squared, you're going to take half of the middle number, which is 4, the middle number is 4, and half of 4 is 2. And then, of course, I take 2 and I square it. And that's what goes right here. So half of 4 is 2, 2 squared is 4, and that's what goes in the blank. If I add 4 to the right side, I have to add 4 to the left side. And so this becomes y plus 16 over here. And then, of course, you're going to add that 16, or subtract the 16 to the other side. So it ends up looking like this. And that's your final answer. Okay. A couple more that are a little bit more complicated. These do not have a terms that are 1. By a, I mean this in your quadratic equation. And when that is the case, when your a is not 1, then you have to do some special things when you complete the square, which we will do here. Start out the same way. You're first of all going to add 18 to both sides. So then I will have y plus 18 equals 2x squared minus 8x. Okay, now here's the problem on this one. Your a term is not 1 right here. So what you need to do is you need to actually factor that out. So you're going to factor a 2 out of here. So you will have 2 times x squared minus 4x, and now put your blank in there. Okay? And put your blank, of course, on the other side as well. All right, now you're going to bring down this 2 for right now, but you're going to a little bit ignore it, kind of. Okay, right here, again, your middle number now is negative 4. Half of negative 4 is negative 2. Okay, nothing is different so far. Take your negative 2 and square it, and negative 2 squared is positive 4. Nothing is different so far, but here's the deal. On the left side, you are not going to put 4 in that blank right there because you have this 2 out in front. So you have to really think about you're really going to distribute that 2 through. And so you have to take 2 times 4, which is 8. And that's what goes over here in this blank. Okay? So this is squared. And then you have 18 plus 8, which of course is 26. And then when you move that 26 to the other side, you will have this. And it looks like that. All right, one more. Again, in this one, your A term is not 1, so you have to think of factoring something out and then being careful what you add to both sides. Okay, so I will add 144 first. So I will have y plus 144 equals negative x squared minus 18x. And some of you can handle doing this all in one step. If that's you, that's great. But your a or your value that's in front of your x squared is not 1. So you need to factor that out. I'm going to factor a negative 1 out. When I factor a negative 1 out, I will actually have x squared plus 18x because negative 1 times 18x gives me negative 18x. Then I want my blank in there. And over here, you'll have your y plus 144 plus your blank. Okay. Again, bring down your negative that's out in front. Then you're going to take half of your middle number. So half of 18 is 9. Square the 9 and I get 81. But again, what goes on the left side is not 81 because you have this out here. So you have to take negative times 81 and get negative 81. And that's what goes on the left side. So 144 plus negative 81, or 144 minus 81, gives you 63 on the left side. And then move that over and you will be good to go. And this is what it should look like in the end. All right?